Hello everybody and welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. So today we're going to start off by looking at these pictures on the screen. And I have got two questions to ask you. How many equal parts are there in each picture? And can you think of any mathematical vocabulary that you might use to describe all of these pictures? So pause the video and have a look at each picture and think about the questions to the answers. Okay, so I'm going to start by looking at each picture and talk about what I can notice. So I can see that this shape has been split into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts here. Again, 4 equal parts. The same with the pizza. You can see the sandwich has been cut or split into 4 equal parts. The chocolate bar has been split into 4 equal parts, and so has this shape here. So we can see some shapes that have been split into equal parts, but we can also see some objects from everyday life that we could split into 4 equal parts, such as the chocolate bar or the pizza or the sandwich. And I wonder if you could think of a mathematical word, I can't say that word today, that you could use to describe these pictures. Could you think of any words? Maybe you have, but if you haven't, that's okay, as we're going to talk about them now. So, last week we looked at finding a half, and we know that that was when we looked at finding 2 equal parts. Today, like I said, we're looking at 4 equal parts, and we call this a quarter. Let's say it together. Quarter. Can you whisper it to me? Quarter. Can you shout it to me? Can you say it in your silliest voice? Excellent. So today we're looking at a quarter. And that is a shape or an object that has been split into how many equal parts? 4 equal parts. And we can represent this as well as a fraction. So here's my line to show my fraction. How do you think we would write this as a fraction? Remember last week we looked at a half. I'm just going to write a half over here to remind us. And we talked about the bottom number, showed us how many equal parts there were all together. So what number do you think is going to go on the bottom of our fraction for a quarter? Hopefully you have said the number 4, because it means if something's been split into a quarter, it's got 4 equal parts. And then we'd put our 1 on the top. For example, this is showing me 1 quarter, because one of the quarters is blue. So that's how many parts I've got. But all together, there are 4 parts. So this is how we write our fraction for a quarter. So let's have a go at writing it in the air together. So we're looking at doing the fraction. So we start with our 1, our line, and then the number 4. And this is called a quarter. Okay, so like we've just explained, this shows us how many parts there are in total, and then the top number shows us how many parts we have. Right, so we have got the same stem sentences that we used last week, but remember today we're looking at a quarter. So the whole pizza has been split into how many equal parts? Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole pizza has been split into 4 equal parts. Each part is worth a quarter. I'm going to type that as it's a bit tricky to write it on the screen sometimes using my mouse. Each part is worth a quarter, and this is the same as writing it like this as a fraction. Can you show me in the air? See if we can write it together. 1 quarter. Let's read it through together. The whole pizza has been split into 4 equal parts. Each part is worth a quarter. This is the same as 1 quarter. Well done. Okay, this time I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at filling in the stem sentence yourself. Off you go. Okay, so hopefully you've noticed that the whole chocolate bar again has been split into 4 equal parts. Each part is worth a quarter. This is the same as 1 quarter. Well done. Okay, this time then I have got 8 different shapes on the screen, and it says which pictures represent a quarter. So think about what we said a quarter means. How many equal parts are there if it's a quarter? And then I'd like you to point to the ones on the screen, which ones do represent a quarter. You might want to pause the video whilst you take a look. Okay, let's have a look together. Let's start with number 1. I can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. So this is representing a quarter. Let's have a look at shape number 2. How many equal parts can you see? I can see 2 equal parts, and we know that if a shape has 2 equal parts, we call it a half. So this one does not represent a quarter. Okay. Let's look carefully at shape number 3. I can see 1 part here and then 1 part here in red. So again, this does not represent a quarter. Shape number 4. 1, 2 equal parts. It doesn't represent a quarter. Let's have a look at shape number 5 carefully. I can see it split into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. But are those parts equal? As remember, a quarter means 4 equal parts. Are these parts equal? No, they're not. I can see this part at the start is smaller. So shape number 5, although it has got 4 parts, they're not equal. So it doesn't represent a quarter. Whereas shape number 6 has got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and they are equal. So this one represents a quarter. Let's have a look at shape number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. They're all the same size. It is a quarter. How about shape number 8? Again, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, but what do you notice? I can notice they're not the same size, so it doesn't represent a quarter. Well done if you found the same. Okay. Pete says that he has split this shape into 4 equal parts. Is he correct? Do you agree with Pete that he has split this shape into 4 equal parts? Hopefully you've spotted that Pete is incorrect, because the 4 parts are unequal because they are not the same size. So Pete is incorrect because the 4 parts are unequal because they are not the same size. Remember, we said if something's unequal, it means it's not the same. Okay. A quarter or not a quarter? Why or why not? Does this picture show a quarter or not? See if you can use the STEM sentence. It is a quarter or it is not a quarter because. Okay, so hopefully you have noticed that it is a quarter because the object has been split into 4 equal parts. We can see the sandwich has been split into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, so it is a quarter. Let's look at the next question. Matt says that 2 of the pictures represent a quarter. So he thinks that out of all of these pictures, 2 of them represent a quarter. Is he correct? Have a look at the pictures and see what you think. So let's look at the first picture. I can see 1, 2, 3 parts and they're not equal. So I'm just going to put a cross below it to remind me that this one doesn't represent a quarter. Let's have a look at the cake. The cake's been split into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts and they are equal. So the cake does represent a quarter. Let's have a look at the shape here. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, but they're not equal. So this does not represent a quarter. And the last shape, 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and they're all the same size. They are equal. So Matt is correct because 2 of these pictures are representing a quarter. Okay. This time then it says, how would you shade in 1 quarter? Pause the video and have a think. You might want to say it out loud. What would you do if I gave you a colouring pencil and I asked you to shade in 1 quarter? Okay, so some of you might have decided to go with the first part of the shape and just shade in this part. That would show me 1 quarter because one of the parts is shaded in. You might have decided to have shaded in the second part here. That would also be showing me 1 quarter because one of them is shaded in. You could have also shaded in this part here, again 1 quarter. Or you could have shaded in the last section and again that would show me 1 quarter. So it doesn't matter which part we shade in as long as it matches the number on the top of our fraction. So we're asking for 1 quarter. How about this shape then? How would you shade in 1 quarter of this shape? Again, the fraction's asking for 1 quarter. So you might have shaded in this bottom part here. That would show 1 quarter. You might have shaded in the middle part. Again, 1 quarter. Or you could have shaded in this part or this part. And any of those would have been correct as long as you had 1 part shaded in. And lastly, our question is, Dave says that he has shaded in 1 quarter of this shape. Is he correct? So hopefully you have spotted that Dave is not correct. And why is Dave incorrect? Because he has shaded in 2 equal parts. If you are shading in 1 quarter, you should shade in 1 equal part. So hopefully you came up with a similar answer. So your first activity is this sheet here for today. You need to complete the STEM sentences to match the picture. Then this part is saying, are these pictures showing a quarter or not a quarter? You can just write yes or no underneath. Explain how you know if these pictures are a quarter or not a quarter. So remember to explain your answers clearly. And then shade in quarter of these shapes. And then your challenges, your first challenge is to shade in 1 quarter of these grids in different ways. So you've got the grid along the top here with 4 squares, shade in a quarter in different ways, 4 different ways, and then the same with this one here. And then your second challenge, which of these shapes is the odd one out and why? So you can circle it and then explain how you know. So they are for your activities for today.